Bryan Kohberger is set to be back in court today, as a judge will determine what evidence can be included and what will be excluded in his upcoming August trial. The judge has to consider more than 170 filings that could have serious implications. All these what are called motions in limine, the motions ahead of time. The defense team wants to block digital data from Kohberger's Amazon account. Prosecutors alleging that he bought a K-bar knife along with a knife sheath to match months before the murders. They say he bought it from Amazon. Prosecutors also say that his touch DNA was found on the snap of the sheath that was left behind at the crime scene.
And the court's question, good question, what does that mean? Could it mean there's more than one person? The answer to that is, or it could mean it's not Bryan because his car's got nothing in it and there were only 13 minutes to do this. The magistrate didn't get to know that.
In fact, his DNA is still on the knife sheath, though. That's the problem, counsel, for probable cause purposes.
Good point, Judge. The defense also wants to block the testimony of an Idaho State Police crime lab manager about the ways in which so-called touch DNA can wind up on an item. So this morning, we're asking our power panel, how likely is it that the defense will get this evidence tossed out? Let's bring back in Ryan Tutera and Franz Borghardt and welcome in criminology expert and author and professor Dr. Debbie Goodman. Great to have you all here on this case. And I'm going to start with our lawyers on the panel and then get into what the alleged motive is in this case. So Ryan Tutera, if you would start us off, the Amazon searches that he bought the knife with the sheath prior to and then after the fact that he was searching on his computer for a replacement. Ryan, how likely do you think it is that the judge will keep this out?
I think, Julie, it would be good for the defense, but I think it's a low likelihood. I think considering the circumstances surrounding this case, the type of weapon that was used, I think that it's going to be a long shot for them, for the defense to be able to have their motion in limine granted that would actually keep that out. I think that that's strong circumstantial evidence, and I think the prosecutor will make a very good argument to overcome the motion that was filed by the defense in this case. I just think that is obviously with a motion in limine, it's a technical, and for your viewers that may not understand what a motion in limine is, it is a trial motion that sort of sets the stage as to how certain evidence comes in and what the jury can consider. But I think that the probative value, if you will, would outweigh any prejudice that should come from the presentation of this evidence, which is really the standard. And I think that there's also a logical connection here. So I think the defense will really are going to have a hard time with this one. It would be great for the defense if they can overcome this, but I really think that the way that the rest of the evidence appears, at least at this stage, in my opinion, I think that that evidence is going to be considered by a jury.
Ryan, thank you. I think you're spot on. Let's talk about the Balaclava mask. That was another purchase that Kohberger made. And we know those are common, right? I was in Dick's the other day and saw one there. I mean, they sell them at Dunham's, people buy them. We have a drawing, though, from Dylan Mortensen, who was one of the housemates who saw the man who was tall, had an athletic build, wearing all black clothing, had the bushy eyebrows, she said. And this is the drawing she made, which looks an awful lot like the Balaclava mask. So, of course, the defense wants to keep out that purchase. Franz Borghardt, how likely do you think that is?
I think the odds of Lori Daybell getting an honorary Harvard Law School degree are the same odds of this mass search or look, searches on the internet, searches on Amazon, it's a thing now in courts. We've tested the waters of this. These searches, strong circumstantial evidence, they're going to come in. But I want the viewers to know, though, good defense attorneys fight. And so I'm glad that they're fighting the admission of these searches. I just don't see a high probability of a judge denying it coming in. Now, good defense attorneys will have a plan B, which is, how do we explain searches for masks and knives in defending this guy, and that's problematic. But it's not an impossibility. Circumstantial evidence is not the end all be all. It's only when circumstantial evidence is hitched to direct evidence that it becomes a lot more valuable. And in this case, direct evidence is an issue for the government.
Right, right. Franz, thank you for that. Great points. Dr. Debbie Goodman, let's pick your brain about what may have been going on in the mind of Bryan Kohberger if he did what the state of Idaho says he did. Your thoughts, please.
Thank you. Good morning. I think what was going on and still is, Julie, is the before, during, and after for individuals who decide to kill. I really think now he entered the field of criminology with the intention of learning how to commit murder and potentially how to get away with it. What's really important for me is the mens rea, the criminal state of mind, the actus reus, the criminal action. So when we're looking at a knife sheath, a knife sharpener, the balaclava, the face mask used, as we say in criminology, as the tool kit, if you will, the toolbox, what these individuals literally will bring to the crime scene, whether it's a singular item to utilize and or plural. Here, I would say clearly it's in the plural. So it really, to me, Julie, speaks to this individual's planning, preparation, and purpose to commit this heinous act against our innocent victims.
Right, right. Dr. Debbie, I always remember, all of us at Court TV remember the acronym you gave us a long time ago, the JAR, jealousy, anger, rage, revenge. All of those things that you believe was going on with this defendant. Your analysis has been incredible. Let's talk about something else, Dr. Debbie. So today the two sides are expected to square off over those text messages between the surviving housemates and a 911 call that one of them made on their cell phones. How this may all factor into the time frame, of course, is key. Let's listen.
And tell me exactly what's going on.
One of the roommates has passed out, and she was drunk last night, and she not wake me up.
Okay.
Oh, and they saw some man in their house last night.
This 911 call something else. Another issue coming in today is the question of whether one of the surviving roommates, the one we just mentioned, Dylan Mortensen, is going to be able to testify about the man that she saw. She said masked man, bushy eyebrows, tall, athletic build, and wearing all black. The question I've had really since this case began is she going to be able to make an ID? And if she can't, how damaging is that going to be for the prosecution? Dr. Debbie, let me start with you on this point. I'd like you to weigh in, please.
Sure. I don't think, Julie, that she can make a 100% positive ID. I don't think that's really her role here. I think the role is to just, with genuineness, sincerity, and honesty, explain what she saw. And what will be critical is that the individual that she saw was wearing this face mask. Here again, we have the alignment of this individual having purchased the face mask. So I think that's very important, as well as her placing the call. Giving a height description, I think that's significant as well, because if she said she saw an individual who was 5'2", 5'3", then, it might be a little more questionable. But I think in totality, what Ms. Mortensen will offer will be of importance.
Yes, yes. Well said, Dr. Debbie. An important description, maybe not an ID, as you said. That's probably doubtful that's going to happen, but a really key description.